So behind me we've got the S3 looking a little bit sorry for itself after it caught fire. Now there's close to 100 parts that are off this car at the moment, so I'm going to attempt to do it in a day, but it all depends on the weather at the moment. I've got it all laid out. Let me show you just how ridiculous it is and how long this is actually going to take, potentially. Today I'm just going to show you basically what damage we caused, how we fixed it, and then put the car back together. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll give it a go. It's been a few days since I actually set this car on fire by mistake. One thing I've kind of been putting off is looking at all the electrics and all the internal damage. Now, I think we've got away with it quite well, to be honest, because although it did go up in flames quite badly, I got to it really quickly and got a load of water on it, and I think I protected quite a few vital parts. The wiring loom, the main wiring harness, actually runs down this side of the car that caught fire, and I thought that was going to be an absolute goner for sure, but looking at it now, I think what's happened is the plastic sheathing that contains the wiring loom, that's kind of melted away a little bit, but looking at it, the wiring actually seems alright. So what I'm going to do now is check every wire individually. It's going to take quite a while, but my aim today really is to get this wiring checked, get the battery connected, see if everything works, see if the speakers have had it, because they got quite a lot of water thrown at them. If everything works okay, then I'm going to clean it all up, paint the damage on the inside. I mean, it's not that bad, it's just kind of a bit of smoke damage, to be honest, and then get the interior back in and get it all fired back up so it's a working car again, and then concentrate on getting the bodywork sorted. Let me show you what's actually been burnt inside. So this harness, this is what I thought was toast, but I don't actually think it is. I think it's just the plastic sheathing that's taken the hit. But like I say, I'm going to go through every single wire, just pull it apart, clean it up, make sure it's all alright, and then re-sheathe it all. This one, I think that was too far away, I think that one's fine. Now, this earth strap, that's definitely that definitely needs a little bit of attention, but there's actually plenty of length on that, so I can probably just take that back a little bit, clean this earth point up. And then obviously I'm just going to sand off all this knackered paint, but the metal underneath is okay. Although it were up in flames, I don't think it got too hot to really start damaging the metal, so that'll all be sanded back, and I'm going to paint all that up. Inside here I'm going to refit all the insulation that got melted. I think really that's all it was, to be honest. The insulation went up. So we'll get all this lot fixed and shaved up and all live and put back together, all working. And then now I'm going to show you the process of doing the rear quarter repair, so it's time to cue the music. This rear quarter repair, I really thought I was way out of my depth for this, but basically it was a case of not having anything to gain by not trying to fix it. So 2 days of manipulating the metal, welding and hammering and putting new parts in it, manipulating further. It actually came back pretty straight, so a skim of filler over it and a bit of paint, and it really did put the project back on track. So let's go for it with the interior now. This rear quarter card, as you can see, it must have got a little bit hotter than I realised, and I only spotted once I'd put it back in, but it actually had like a dent in it, maybe due to the heat, so that's something that will be replaced, but I'll replace that later on. I'll have to source a part for that. Maybe find one that's been broken that's got the same interior and just replace that later on. Everything else though went back together fine. There was no real damage, nothing like that. Give the full interior a bit of a clean, carpets a good hoover, made sure there were no residual water lying about, and then put the front seats in. Made it a car again on the inside. As you can imagine, once I'd sat in the car, once the interior were back together and actually heard the engine running again, checked everything on the interior was still working, it kind of gave the project a whole new lease of life. It's very easy to lose interest when you make a mistake like that, and you kind of think, well, that's it, it's done, it's ruined. But like I say, after sitting in it, after making sure everything works, that kind of made me happy again. That put the project back into 100% full power. So the next part was literally get all the other parts painted, ready to rebuild the car itself, the exterior. And it's all the painting's actually finished now and it's looking really good. I think today I'm just going to show you basically what damage we caused, how we fixed it, and then put the car back together. I've got everything painted ready, and I'll show you now just how much of a jigsaw puzzle this is going to be. There's parts missing, we already know that. There's bolts that were wrong, there's all kinds of things wrong with it. So it's Sunday, 9 AM. Can we get all these parts fitted to this car in 8 hours, but fitted properly, no alignment issues, no fixings or anything missing, actually done properly? I highly doubt it, but we're going to give it a go. With this car, I'm fully aware that all the messing around is going to occur at the front with the fact that I've had the full slam panel off, and even before that nothing lined up. There were loads of bits missing, but actually at the back of the car everything came off quite straightforward, to be honest. There wasn't really too much missing, most of the bolts were where they should be, and there were really no damage at the rear. It was just a bit scratched and stuff, so all of it's been painted, so I'm going to rebuild it, but I'm going to start at the back of the car and work forward, leaving the harder parts till last. I think this way is probably just going to trick myself into thinking I'm making a lot of progress by getting half the car done quite quickly, but we'll see. Majority of these little parts, I mean, I say just the little parts, I suppose it's the same with any part of any car. Once you've figured out how to take it off, it goes back together quite easily, provided it's not broken, that is. It's actually figuring out how to get the bloody thing apart in the first place that takes absolutely forever. But things like the door handles and the petrol cap and these side skirts, really just, they either clip on or they get stuck on. Actually, there's a lot of stuff on this Audi that is 3M taped on, to be honest. I was quite surprised. The spoilers, all the side trims, the kick plates inside the doors. They really likes the double-sided tape when they built these things. Next goes the rear inner arches. These are actually quite easy. They're kind of a weird material, so they're very flexible. You can bend them in quite easily. And what I actually did before I even started this, I bought a full, like a bag of the standard size that Audi use for all the under tray clips and things like that. So I've got plenty of fixings to replace all these ones that were, if they were missing. Like I said, most of them weren't missing, but there were a lot of rusty ones that are rounded off a little bit, so all these fixings are getting put in brand new. This is going to be the first time I've done one of these windows. In fact, it's the first time I've ever taken one out, let alone put one back, so... I think we've got the right stuff. Window sealant. I think you just basically glue it in. Maybe duct tape it to stop it moving. Definitely make sure the other door's open, because if you slam a door it pops the window, so... let's try it. These front arch liners, there's no other word for it than they're just a pain in the arse. Audi, they somehow managed to, normal cars, they literally have one arch liner per wheel arch. Not this car. Audi's managed to make each side front wheel liner out of 4 different parts, and knowing which one you need to order when one of them's broken is an absolute minefield. It really is, but we actually did manage to get the right one, so let's put all them back together. I need them on before the side skirts go on anyway, or at least the rear section. Probably the most stressful 2 hours of this entire project, getting the wing mirrors back on the car. Audi, the way they do things sometimes, it's absolutely unbelievable. The wiring harness that works the wing mirrors, it's actually clipped to the window regulators inside the doors, and it's just an absolute joke to do. Short of stripping the entire door down, which I'm not going to do, but we've got the actual wing mirrors back in now, so what we've got to go on them is some gloss black wing mirror covers, because I'm going to go a little bit stealthy with this car, and some new indicators, because the other indicators were all snapped and scratched, but these ones are the ones that kind of, they come out from the edges, I think, so I think that should look quite cool. So we'll get them on now and see what they look like, see if all the wiring still works. Right, we're on to the front end now, and we're actually doing quite well time wise. It's just past 4 o'clock and it's the last few bits to go on now. I know this is I'm gonna have to come back to this and prat about with it endlessly to line everything up, but for now basically all I want to do is just get the car back together and just see what does need modifying. At the moment everything I've put on so far has lined up just right. There's no, and I don't need to go back to it at all. I just need to give the whole thing a polish obviously when it's done, but I know with this slam panel coming off in the past it's going to take a lot of lining up, so we'll get it back together and just see how far out it is really, and then come back to it another day. Now it's a case of building the front bumper back up. Now you might spot in the middle of this bumper there's a little bit of a sneak peek of what kind of modifications we're going to be doing to this car in the next video. There's a few little bits that are going on it and we're going to take it for a drive in the next video. But this is literally, once this is back together, this is going to be the final part that's going to need to go back on today. Now there will be the front sections of the inner arches to put back on, but I'm not going to put them on today because, as I said, this probably will need quite a bit of alignment doing, and once you've put the inner arches on you can't get to any of the fixings, so for now the bumper's just going on, the inner arches aren't. So it actually did go back together in 8 hours. There were a couple of bits I couldn't fit. One of the side skirts, in fact it was a badly damaged side skirt, I couldn't fit because there's 2 clips that I need to get from Audi to get that mounted back on. Definitely the most stressful part of that, building that up, was the wing mirrors. That took probably 2.5 hours out of the 8 just to do the wing mirrors themselves. Just the design of them was absolutely shocking really. I think what you've got to do is strip the entire door down to do it properly, but I ended up just cutting the wires, sending it through and then reconnecting all the cables at the other end, so they all work now, it's all done. But yeah, what a ball ache that was, absolutely a horrible job. So I think I'm going to call that mission complete. There's 3 parts that I need to get clips from Audi that I'm going to have to order before I can fit them. And I'm definitely going to need a bit of time lining up all the front end where the slam panel came off, because there's a few little gaps here and there. Now I did wonder when this car were in pieces whether it were actually possible to get it back something like right again, and The project's gone really well, to be quite honest. I'm really happy with it. I think it's a really nice car now. In the next video I've got quite a few modifications that we're going to do to it that I think you're going to like, plus I should have the wheels back from the wheel refurbers by then. So please remember to subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time.